Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Shawn Have No Friends, presented by the amazing Talent Co Real Estate. Go to homeandnoco.com for that dream house that you've been looking for, Shawn. What like would be your ideal dream house?
Graceland.
Really? Did you hear that that was like supposedly up for auction not too long ago because they
Yeah, it
had
was like a
fallen
scam,
behind?
though. It's
Yeah, but it was
crazy.
a complete scam. It was never really up for auction.
I mean, they were gonna do it, I think. This company said that supposedly was it Priscilla or Lisa Marie, the daughter of Elvis?
Lisa Marie.
Lisa Marie, before she died, she took out some sort of loan and used Graceland as equity for like $3.8 million. And so they were coming after the granddaughter for the $3.8 million. And she's like, I don't have it. So they're going to auction off Graceland. And she's like, hold up. Is this real?
That
And so
cannot be true.
she took them to court. And sure enough, they're like, yeah, there's no record of any of this that wasn't notarized, nothing. Like it was just completely scam. And they almost got away with it. They almost auctioned off Graceland in a big old scam.
I heard after Lisa Marie died, that her mom, Priscilla Presley, and her daughter, Riley Keough, were like at it about who's going to get Graceland.
Yeah,
And it was supposed to go to the daughter. It's like a generational thing. But Priscilla Presley was like, no,
it went to the daughter.
mine.
Luckily, it did because she was smart enough. I don't know that Priscilla would have figured this whole scam out. Like
She would have just been like,
old
crap,
people
here are the
get duped
keys.
in scams easy, and so I feel like Priscilla would have got duped, and Graceland would have been owned by some scammer.
Have you ever gone to Graceland?
I have. I've been there one time. It was so cool, and I don't want to go back because I feel like it's a one-time thing. After that, you go back and you're like, this is kind of because it's underwhelming, but it's underwhelmingly cool. If you know what
Yeah,
I'm trying to say, like it's not
right.
huge. And so
In your
I
mind,
love
you think it's
yeah,
huge.
I love
Okay.
the underwhelming feeling, but I feel like if you go back a second time, you'd pick it apart and you would be really underwhelmed because it's underwhelming.
It's not that exciting.
N
I hear
no, it's
never
small.
I've never been, but I hear you get like a headset to wear around and it's like,
John
this is
Stamos
where
is the narrator, by the way.
is he really?
Yes.
I love him. Okay, so thank you for listening. You never answered the question. So Graceland, so if Amy somehow happens upon the listing of Graceland, that's what you'll take?
How cool would that be? Because it's like preserved too. It's like as exactly as Elvis left it in 1972 or 1978 or whatever year it was when he died. It's like he left it. And so I feel like if you were able to go behind the ropes, you could find like Elvis hairs and Elvis pubes. And that would be cool to me. Like I'd go
What about
around
the
with a
toilet he
magnifying.
died on? Did they touch
No,
on that?
you can't go upstairs. So there's an upstairs. There's a
See?
main level and then there's a basement and you can go in both of those, but you can't go upstairs. And yeah, you can see the bathroom though from downstairs, like the bathroom that he died in. They point it out. John Stamos points it out on the iPad and it's right there. So Lisa Marie used to, in the presentation, they tell you Lisa Marie used to still like Christmas at Graceland. They closed down Graceland to tourists and she goes in there and she has Christmas in the house that she grew up
Okay.
in. And they
Yeah.
still like use it and they go upstairs. She still has a room up there that she sleeps in and stuff. It's
Who is it?
intriguing.
Priscilla?
No, Lisa Marie did before she died.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say she did. She not sleeping there anymore.
No, but when I went, she was still alive. And so on the iPad, they would tell you like Lisa Marie on Christmas still brings her family to Graceland and
Oh,
they still
okay.
use this dining room table for Christmas dinner. And yeah, it was intriguing, but that's weird. That's like going to a museum and celebrating Christmas. Even though you grew up in the house, I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around like going back in there.
Like if you died today and then people took a tour of your home.
Yeah,
Like,
and then but
that's the couch he died on.
Shay still celebrated Christmas in there every year too. Like the whole dynamic of the whole thing was weird. But the whole thing is weird too because he's got all these rooms. If you're an Elvis fan, you know about like the jungle room and there's like every room had a thing, like a theme, and the themes were really weird and really 70s, but I don't know. The whole thing is
I think it would be a smart business move, and I believe that this is ridiculously morbid, but if they are in any kind of financial trouble, I think that they should because you have to pay to go on this tour, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so you have to pay to go on this tour, and, I think if they charged more, like, say 50 bucks and you could go look at the toilet he died on, I would pay $50. Would you pay
Yeah.
$50? See,
They
that's what
already
I'm
have
saying.
yes.
Like,
That is really, really smart actually, because they already done that. There's like 18 other buildings that aren't Graceland that you can go in. There's a car museum where all his cars are, and
yeah.
there's a outfit museum, and you can pay 10 extra dollars to go to each one of these things. So why not add the toilet in there too? Yeah, I
I
agree.
think that the toilet should be like a VIP thing where you have to pay a
Yeah.
little bit extra, but maybe you get a little bit of champagne while you're staring at the toilet. I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would too. You're right. That's a good point. Speaking of real estate, I read yesterday that there's another famous house that is actually for sale. The house from Home Alone is for
I
sale.
I
It's
think I
on
read that.
it's in a suburb of Chicago, which I guess I kind of knew. The disappointing part was I actually watched a documentary about this, so I knew it before the house went on sale, but there's a lot of people that are disappointed right now. The outside of the house is what
Is
was
what
used
they
for the
use.
movie. The inside of the house is not what you saw in the movie. They actually built a set in the local high school there, which is the inside of the house that you see. So people are like going in this house and they're expecting to see
You
all the
know,
things
where
that you saw
Joe
in home.
Pesci
Yeah.
got knocked with the
Yeah.
flour sack and
No.
fell down the
That
stairs.
doesn't exist because that was a movie set that they built, and
I
so
wonder how different the house looks on the inside.
it's renovated, they said, and so it's, like, modernized. It's $5.25 million.
Yeah.
It looks big from the outside, but it's only 5 beds and 6 bath for
Yeah, but I bet they're
5.25.
huge.
Well, probably. That's true, and it's all, like, gated because people show up all the time and they want selfies in front of it, so you'd have to deal with that.
Yeah. I was surprised to see that was up for sale because I had read a few years ago that the family was like, we would never sell this house. And now they're selling it. So that's kind of a bummer.
To me, that's another investment opportunity. Like, I don't know how close it is to Chicago. If it's close to Chicago, what you do is you turn it into a Home Alone museum and you charge people $50 to walk through it and you get your 5.25 million back in a year.
Yeah, but if it's not the inside that you're expecting with the oak cabinets
Yeah,
and
but you
all
make
the
it a
drapery on the
spend
windows,
an
yeah.
extra million and make it look like the damn movie. And then also put like in the basement, put a museum of like what
Yeah, but do
Macaulay
you want to
Culkin
live
wore.
in a house with, 1980s aesthetic?
No, you don't live in it. You turn it into a museum. It's an investment opportunity. I'm looking to make some money here.
Well,
I'm
that's
sure
a
the
lot of
neighbors
money
would
to,
love
like,
it.
invest into it. Yeah, I know the neighbors would totally oh, and during Christmas, you could charge thousands of dollars at
That's what I'm
Christmas
saying.
season.
1 year, you make your $5.25 million back. 1 year.
I don't think you'd make $5 million on
I'm
the Home Alone house.
No one's been able to go in it ever, and so now you've opened up the doors. Every Home Alone fan ever is gonna come. That's if you charge $50 a person, you only need I don't know math, but you only need so many people. I mean,
You need a lot of $50 to get to 5 million.
well, I feel like over time, 5 million people are gonna come, so that's a dollar a piece, and you make your money back.
Right. I think
Now you're
that's a
charging
really good
50 a
idea.
piece. Yeah, you're gonna get it back quick. That's a who has $5.25 million? I'm in.
Shawn will come in with 0, but a dream. He's got that
I'm gonna
dream.
make it happen for you.
That's funny because did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
No.
Okay, so there's a scene in Breaking Bad where there's a pizza thrown onto Walter White's house. And apparently, and this is the house, it's the house inside, it's the house outside, it's the house. I think it's in Santa Fe somewhere, I don't even
Yeah,
know.
it's in New Mexico.
It's
I
in
know
New
that.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, so people like the owners had to sell it because people kept buying pizzas and throwing them on top of their house. And it became like a serious thing where they were like, we can't do this anymore. Like people drive by daily. You got to especially think, I mean, probably not anymore. The new owners are probably fine. But you got to think when Breaking Bad was in its height, yeah, people just were throwing pizzas. It ran those folks off. I'd be like, free pizza. Next time, leave it in the box and throw it.
Well, you just charge people to throw it. Again, a business opportunity. I'll provide the pizza. $50, I give you a pizza, and you can throw it on my house, and you can take a picture for Instagram, and you're getting rich, baby. I mean, real estate in New Mexico ain't very expensive either, so that one's even a better business opportunity. This is even because Breaking Bad was popular, so you get a lot of people. This is less popular because it's old, but Cousin Eddie's house from the vacation movies is in Colorado. It's down near Pueblo.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either until I have a friend who goes to all of these houses. Like, he makes road trips every year. He picks out a house, and he was coming through Colorado because he lives in Nashville. He's like, "Hey, coming through Colorado. I'm going near Pueblo to go see cousin Eddie's house. Are you going to be around?" And so that's how I found out. And then he found out because he talked to some of the neighbors that they have problems all the time. That there's always a line of people taking pictures, and it's just a normal residence now. And this is just cousin Eddie's house from the Vacation movie. So
This
again,
was from
imagine the traffic.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's from the Wally World
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Imagine the
Okay.
traffic at a Breaking Bad or Home Alone house. Like this, I'm telling you, there's money in this.
Well, then let's do it, Shawn.
All
Do you
right.
have any money that you could
No,
spend to do it? Gotcha. What did you want to talk about?
nothing.
Nothing? Okay, I wanted to talk about the fact that I read this morning and I thought, this is insanity. But there is a billionaire who wants to yet again try to take a submarine to the Titanic. What a nightmare!
I
Who
mean, I will
are
tell
these
you,
billionaires? Do you just get billions of dollars and like going to Target becomes boring? I was thinking the other day, if I just had like Beyonce money, I swear to you, I would buy everything from Temu or Target. That's it. I'd be rich forever because I'm not going to go buy a $5,000 pair of jeans. I'm going to go to Temu
no,
and I'm
you
going to be
wouldn't.
rich forever. Yes, I would. I would never do that.
I'm
I
telling
just
you,
wouldn't.
once you have the money, your mindset changes. It's a thing.
Is
It's
that
a
what it's like,
human
Shawn?
thing. No, I don't. I've read about it.
Okay, well, so this
You
guy
wouldn't. You would buy everything on Temu and you would get bored and you would be like, "Dude, I need
no, you
adventure in
can't
my
get
life."
to the end
And
of
I have
Temu.
well, you can.
No, you can't because it's like the internet.
Yeah, but you keep getting shit. You keep getting shit delivered to your house and you're finally like, "Man, I
No,
have billions of dollars in my account. Why am I continuously having shit delivered to my house when I can buy non-shit?" And so then you get bored and you end up on the bottom of the ocean in a
I
submarine
don't know. I just feel like if I had that kind of money, that's what I'd do. I'd be so
for a
frugal
while.
with it.
For a
I
while.
mean, like I would buy nice things, like, my Temu purchases would hang in a mansion of a closet, but
I don't buy it.
I think I'd still be real with myself. But here's this story. He's a billionaire, he's from Ohio, and he's taking a brand new sub to the site that it happened. It's been a year. It's been a year since it happened. And remember Ocean Gate? That was a nightmare. And you read that like one of the kids didn't want to go, but the dad was like, "Come on, this is once in a lifetime." And then it imploded on itself. I mean, that's gotta suck.
Well, they didn't know what happened. It happened so fast. They turned into a blasted pumpkin in no time and they didn't even know what happened. So I mean, it
That's
sucks.
insane.
It sucks, but and also remember that this thing took hundreds of trips to the Titanic before it imploded. So I feel like
What
you
are you
got another.
talking about? I don't think it had ever taken a trip. This was like a first
No,
timer,
it had
wasn't
taken
it?
trips. No, it had
I
taken trips.
Okay, see, now I'm gonna have to look this up.
And so this guy's probably fine. I mean, he's got balls of steel after you read the story of what actually happened, but no one wants to do it again. But I think
What
that it's probably fine.
what if you were, God forbid, terminally ill? Would you be like, "Fuck it. I'm gonna go
I
see the
don't even have to be
Titanic. I don't
terminally
even give a
ill.
shit."
I told you about this last time we talked about it. I would do it tomorrow if I didn't have to pay. If somebody said, "Hey, Shawn, you can go in a submarine tomorrow to the bottom of the ocean to see the Titanic. Will you go for free?" Sign me up.
Stop it. You would not.
I would.
That's insanity. Anyway, this guy's going back and he seriously thinks it's in this well, obviously it's not in the same, but it looks like the submarine he's taking looks just like the other one that imploded. And I'm like, damn, that guy does have mega balls. But he's also a billionaire. And I think at some point you lose touch with reality with billions of dollars, where you might even think nothing can stop you. Look at what's going on with P. Diddy, Shawn. Why haven't we talked about P. Diddy, that punk
Yeah,
ass?
you're gonna have to tell me more about the P. Diddy situation because I know like the surface of it, but again, I'm not much of a pop culture guy, so I don't know exactly what's happening. Like, why is his world imploding? What happened?
Okay, so he dated, first of all, for years and years, people have said that he's like a complete monster. But I'm always like, Puff Daddy, wasn't he kind of like the little bitch of Bad Boy Records? There was like,
No,
Yeah, well, he was
He
at one time,
Oh,
wasn't he?
maybe he was at one time, but he also has been associated with orchestrating the murders of both Tupac
And
and
Biggie.
Notorious B.I.G. And
And
so,
then
like, he
it
was a
looked like,
real gangster at one point.
I don't know, I think he's a weasel, but he was dating this singer, and her name was Cassie, and she's just so beautiful, and somebody released, now there are so many things about this story that just piss me off, because somebody released hotel footage where she, have you seen the footage? Okay, so it's a hotel hallway, nice hotel, and it shows her coming out of the door like with her bag packed and her coat up, and she's trying to get to the elevator, like to escape him. And he comes out in a towel and he chases her down and beats the shit out of her, like kicks her, stomps her, and then like, this happened a few years ago, and it never came out. And then some, because what he did was they think that he paid off all the security people and said, "This tape never goes anywhere, and I will pay you because you never saw anything." And no one stood up for this girl because, again, money, people will do messed up stuff for money. And
I
so,
know that's the most recent reason that he was getting beat up in the media and stuff, and for good reason, obviously, but there was something before that too, where he,
well,
like,
so,
fled to
okay.
an island or something.
Well, yeah, so his compound, they came to his compound to, like, mess it up and search for shit and stuff, and he just left and went on an island
What were they
because he
searching
had
for?
his own island. Because this guy is a crook from top to bottom. I
What were
mean,
they
like,
searching for?
let me explain. I don't really know the exact thing they were searching for, but it was a lot of shit. Also, apparently, he had these things called freak off parties. Now, I'm going to sound incredibly like a white mother in Colorado, but I never heard of these. But I guess it is an orgy, and it's an orgy. It's dudes with dudes with dudes, and P Diddy's one of the dudes. And some of these rappers are coming out now and saying they had nothing to do with it, but apparently Diddy filmed a bunch of stuff. What a dumb ass. Filmed a bunch of this stuff, and then he would use it over people's head. They say that that's why there are a lot of rappers who start out strong, like The Game, or I don't even know. I suck at rappers, but
Oh, who was the deep voice guy? I liked him. Ja Rule.
yeah, he's still around. But a lot of these
Oh, he is?
rappers just kind of fell off the map because
They
uh
went to gay orgies?
well, yeah, but they said, okay, and then another thing that they said, this is like talking to your husband. Another thing, and you're just zoning out. But he had these freak off parties. He was like holding it over people's heads. You got to know the dude was in all kinds of dirty, dirty stuff. I don't even know if they have announced why they trashed his house and went in and he fled and they arrested his kids. Here's what's freaky. I just saw the other day that some of these freak off parties, AKA orgies, his kids were in them, like his older sons. I know.
Why? I
There
don't
will
even
never
understand.
be
Like,
enough money.
if you're a gay dude, then I guess you enjoy that. But why are these rappers going to it? Because most of them don't seem gay.
I
They
think what
have like
he does
big
is
bootied women in their music videos.
I think he drugged them. I don't know. Or there are a lot of people who are gay and they just don't admit it. And this they probably thought was like a safe place where everybody going in had to sign NDAs, which are these contracts saying that no matter what you see, you are not allowed to tell anybody or you get your ass sued. And so, but apparently there were a couple people who got in and out without signing one. And it's just all crumbling
Are
down.
NDAs, do they hold up in the court of law? Like if you
Oh,
sign
I'm
one?
sure Puff Daddy's NDAs would
I had
hold
to
up.
sign one recently.
Why?
Well,
Tell
I
me.
can't tell you.
Well,
I guess
wait.
I can tell you where I was, but I can't tell you
Okay,
what
where
happened
were you?
inside.
Where were you?
It was at Red Rocks, and
Okay.
it was a Zach Bryan concert.
Okay.
And they at every concert they have what they call radio rooms where the people from radio get to come and hang out and they have drinks and they have hors d'oeuvres and then the artist comes in and says hi, you take a picture with it and they leave. And I go into Zach Bryan's little radio room and in there before you can step in is an NDA you have to sign. You can't talk about anything or anyone that was in
Well,
the
then
room.
why? But here's the deal. Don't artists want you to go on the radio and talk about them and say, "Man, I got
Not
to
Zach
talk to
Bryan.
Zach Bryan, and he
Not
is the
Zach
night."
Bryan.
So how far does that go? Like, you can't talk about anything?
I'm not supposed to talk about anyone or anything that happened in that room. I broke it the next day because I did talk about one person in the room. I felt like it was pretty harmless, and this was a year ago now, and I haven't gotten sued yet, so I guess I can tell you about that. I was talking to a gentleman, a buff gentleman who was about my height. He just looked like he worked out a lot. Younger guy, probably in his upper 20s, and we're talking and just having a normal conversation. I didn't ask him what he did. He was asking me about me. He was asking me what I did. And so I was
Sounds
telling
like,
him,
"Finally."
and so the whole time I'm talking to him, though, I'm thinking to myself, like, I recognize this guy. He's probably another radio guy. A lot of times they'll fly in radio people from across the country. And so in my head, I thought he's probably from a radio station in Florida. And I've met him before. I can't place my finger on exactly who he is, but I'm dumb and I didn't ask him who he was. And I just went about my
You
conversation,
were
told
like,
him,
"Thank you for asking about me. Have a
yeah.
great night."
Told him all about me, and then honestly, I probably would have gotten to asking him about him, but we got broken up for whatever reason. And so I walk away and I go to my buddy, and my buddy's like, "You realize who you were just talking to?" And I was like, "No, I really have no idea who that was. I was trying to figure it out myself." He's like, "Oh, it was Christian McCaffrey, who, of course,
Oh,
is
I
like
wouldn't know that. I
Christian
wouldn't know.
McCaffrey's like the best running back in all of football. He plays for the 49ers, but he's from Castle Rock because his dad, Ed McCaffrey, played for the Broncos, and they stayed here. They built their family here. And I actually know Ed pretty well through some events that we've done. So I
Oh,
would have been able
that's
to talk to
hot.
Christian about his dad and be like, "Hey, I know your dad." But anyways, it was just funny that I didn't know him. So I was telling the story of how I met Christian by mistake and didn't even realize it was him.
Didn't
And
even
that was
ask him.
probably against the NDA.
Yeah. That was
But
probably, but no, I mean,
I
but
was
here's the
like,
deal. Was there anything that you saw in there where you were
no,
like, "Oh my god," because if I walked into a Diddy freak off party
yeah, it
slash
makes
orgy,
sense.
I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, this is what's going on." Okay. And they're also saying that there were underage people involved. Like, he is so up shit's creek. I don't even think his billions can save
Well,
him.
see, that's why I ask about the NDA thing. Like, if you see things that are illegal, you can't just make somebody sign a paper and then do illegal shit and
Right.
make them shut up. Like, what I think that if you sign a paper and you see illegal things, you're still allowed to talk about it.
I don't know because apparently, like I said, a couple people snuck in and snuck out without him, and they say that I'm so blown away by, I guess, how powerful Puff Daddy is because I was like, "What?" But apparently, yeah, he made him sign NDAs, and then if you in any way crossed him, you were done. You were done. I read this story about Wendy Williams, who's a DJ, and she was at a big station in New York, and she had found video footage of one of these sex orgies, and all she did was take like a little screenshot of a part of it, and it was a little bit blurry, and she put that shit on the radio, and she was like, "Look what's going on here." And by the next day, because Puff Daddy had called that radio station and said, she had better be off the air by tomorrow, like, period, and she was. She was, they took her off. Puff Daddy got some strings he's
Well,
pulling.
I'm telling you, he was part of murdering Tupac and Biggie Smalls, so he does have some street cred. I wouldn't
So
want to
I think
cross
he's
him. I'm
scary
not
to
going to talk
people.
shit about him on this podcast because I don't want to get
I
shot
don't
when I'm
care.
driving down I-25.
You think he has snipers in Colorado who are just out to shoot people?
He
Who
got Wendy
say,
Williams kicked off the radio.
well, Wendy Williams, so, like, they knew each other, and for years she had insinuated, like, "He's gay," and then it became
Wasn't
like
he
a
married to
thing.
J-Lo or something?
No, he dated J-Lo. Then he was married to a woman named Kim Porter, and mysteriously she died. And here's another thing that doesn't make sense, but I guess rich people can do it and no one puts it together. But before his wife died, he bought her casket like 3 days before she died. She wasn't sick or anything, and she dropped dead. Already had a casket
And
waiting.
they didn't do, like, an autopsy or anything?
They did an autopsy, and I'm trying to think. Somehow it got written off as like natural, but people were coming out going, "No, no," because I guess like 5 people in his inner circle have died like mysteriously. So I think there's just a lot of stuff
Yeah.
piling on Puff. You know what, Puffy? It's gonna be a lot different in jail, but maybe you'll
Sounds
like
like he
it.
likes it. Yeah, it sounds like he's not gonna have a problem when Bubba gives it to him.
He's gonna be like,
I've
"Okay,
been waiting my whole life for this.
finally I belong, no fear." But that's just insane,
Huh.
and
Yeah,
it's
that's interesting. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that he was in hot water. I didn't know exactly what was going on with that. I grew up in the 90s and like the early 2000s, and there was a phase of my life where to be cool, you had to be into like the hip hop scene. And I can't even name one Puff that like he wasn't
well,
he was
he's
more of a pop culture guy than like a musician.
yeah, so how messed up is this? They say that he orchestrated Biggie's death and Tupac's death to make it look like the gangs turned on each other.
Right.
Okay. So then, do you remember that song that was Every Step You Take?
Yeah.
Okay. That song was actually, they took some of, well, they took a lot of Sting's music without asking
Yeah.
him to do that. And he has to pay, I guess Puffy has to pay Sting $2,000 a day for the rest of his life because he used that song. But
Well,
it was like,
$2,000 a day to Sting isn't a whole lot of money, but I'm sure that he takes it gladly if he knows about all this shit that's going on.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah, but that might stop because he may be going to jail.
Yeah, the money doesn't just go after the
Yeah,
abyss.
but they're gonna here's the deal. People are gonna start coming out and suing Puffy, like Biggie's family or Tupac's family or some kid that was at one of these disgusting freak off parties. And they're gonna come out and say, I was, 16 when I went to this. I mean, and they're gonna want their money. And you know what? They deserve that money, I think.
Hmm,
Shawn
that's
does
gross.
not
What's
give
what's the party called? Pre-goth?
freak off.
Oh, freak off. There was never women invited to this?
I don't know. I think there were women. I think it was just like you went to his parties, and everyone just got drunk or drugged up and like hooked up with each other.
It's so crazy to me, like, when all of these things come out years and years and years after they happen, like, how did not one person in the last 20 years not say a peep about this? And then all of a sudden it just comes out and it's just like a waterfall. How
I don't know. I think it just takes one person, and I think somebody leaked that video to the press of him beating her up in Cassie up in the hallway, and that's it. Because she took him to court right before that and said he beat me, and he was like, "I you are just dragging my name through the mud, and you were
where's
trying
he
to."
at now? Is he in jail?
No, he's in California, I'm assuming, but
Just hanging out,
it's just sad.
living his best life?
Lots of people has died. That guy's got a lot to answer for at the end, you know what I mean? If you do have to answer for stuff, they're gonna be like, "Oh, we've been waiting for you, Puffy."
This is always my concern with people like that is like he knows all the shit that he's done, and so he's like, well, there's no way I'm getting into heaven, so I'm just gonna keep on doing more bad shit.
Yeah, that's true. But again, to go back to my story, because I got sidetracked, dang it. How messed up is it that he supposedly had Biggie killed, and then that song, Every Step You Take, Every Breath, whatever. I remember when he performed it on like the MTV Awards, and he was like shooting up peace signs to Jesus, and like Biggie's mom was there. How twisted is that? If you are the one that had the killing happen, and then
Well, I
you
think
you
they
get
knew it
this
at
multi-billion-dollar song come out and you make money off of it.
they knew about that though in the moment because he had like blood on his hands after if I remember the story of Biggie getting killed, it was like during the Super Bowl and uh Puff Daddy left the Super Bowl party that they were at early and he was one of only a few people and like he was just associated with the crime. There was like blood on his hands. Like they think that he may have been like the guy who did it.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Awful. And that is today's show, which is a complete, if you're not into any garbagey celebrity stuff, we apologize. But let's end it by thanking our friends at Christiana Salon and Spa. You need some pampering. Maybe you think right now, no, I got this. I got it handled. Give it a week into summer and you'll be like, get these little ankle biters away and get me a hot stone massage. Shawn's half yawning in the video and then it froze. So thanks, Shawn. You could go in there, you could get your nails done. There's an area for men as well. You can get it all done, all that pampering, and you could get 10% off, which is a lot. That's a great savings, 10% off. Go get everything done. Just tell them Sadie and Shawn have no friends, and that's it.